Good day, everybody. It's Andrew here, and welcome back to my channel. So we have a great update today. Chuck Schumer has announced a new deadline for the next stimulus package, which again could include the stimulus check for seniors that Bernie Sanders is trying to include in this package. So before we jump into it, do me a quick favor, hit like, hit subscribe, and share this channel with anyone who you think might find this helpful. I also want to say to everybody out there, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm posting this video the next day on Black Friday, and let me know in the comments, guys, are you doing any Black Friday shopping? A lot of experts are saying it should be the biggest Black Friday shopping day ever. Of course, every year seems to be the biggest one, but to me it's a little surprising that they're expecting such a Black Friday boom when people are still struggling. But let me know in the comments, guys. Are you buying anything on Black Friday? And did you have a great Thanksgiving? Also, as always, if you really want to support my work, subscribe to my second channel. The link to that is going to be in the comments of this video. And on that channel, we're going to have some updates, but it's going to be like 80% entertainment. Just a community for seniors and those who are disabled to come together. We're going to have live video streams where we play bingo. You can play bingo with me. We're going to play casino games, announce lottery winning numbers like for the Powerball and things like that. So it's going to be a fun channel. I should be launching that in about 2 weeks, give or so, sometime before Christmas. And to the almost 5,000 people that subscribe to that channel, thank you so much for supporting my work. And I'm going to be giving some stimulus checks away on that channel as well. I'm thinking at first I'll probably give a stimulus check away every week. And then we'll see how big the channel gets. If the channel gets bigger, we'll keep doing it every week. We'll see how it goes. But thank you so much for your support. Now, before we jump into the stimulus update and the new deadline that Chuck Schumer gave, let's do a quick update on daily trending news. We'll do about 4 or 5 minutes on trending news. Then we'll talk about the stimulus package. So if you're not interested in the trending news, just skip ahead about 4 minutes and you'll be close to the stimulus update at that point. But if you were wondering where President Biden was on Thanksgiving, this headline will tell you. President Biden eats his Thanksgiving meal at $30 million Nantucket home of private equity billionaire David Rubenstein. So if you were wondering what President Biden was doing, this is the giant mansion that him and his wife were at for Thanksgiving. I'm sure with his family as well. So, I don't want to slam Biden, not to say that I'm slamming Biden too much, but, the American people are struggling. Seniors are waiting for the senior stimulus check. We're waiting for Social Security benefits to be increased as promised. This channel is mainly for people on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI. We talk about it every day. President Biden promised to increase Social Security benefits, and Biden himself gets a monthly Social Security check of about $1,500. And this is where he was, folks, on Thanksgiving. Just, again, not trying to slam Biden too much, but, I would have preferred to see him in the White House getting Social Security benefits increased. Instead, he was in a mansion. But also in trending news, the White House has announced that President Biden does intend to run for president again in 2024. This was confirmed from the White House. So let me know in the comments. Do you want President Biden to run again? Or would you prefer a different Democrat? Or quite honestly, do you not care because either way you're going to vote Republican? Let me know in the comments below. Now, this is coming as President Biden's approval rating is down to about 40%, which is really, really low. It's pretty much on par where President Trump was, which was really low as well. And Kamala Harris, usually vice presidents have high approval ratings. She is at 28%. That is insane. That just goes to show you that although it's awesome to see a female vice president, really, really great. Honestly, I hope we see a female president soon because that needs to happen. But Kamala Harris, she might not have been the right person for the job. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Now, if you want to look at President Biden's polls, it is pretty bad. If you just look at this chart, the blue states are where his approval rating is positive, and the red states here, there's 32 states where President Biden has a negative approval rating, and 7 of these states are actually states that he won in the 2020 election. So the fact that he's doing so poorly in specifically swing states does not bode well, not only for his reelection in 2024, but for the re-elections, the midterm elections coming up in about a year in the House and the Senate. Because normally, when the sitting president is doing poorly in the polls, those Senate seats and those House seats do poorly as well, and then they end up losing control of Congress. And as we've talked about, if Democrats lose control of either chamber, even if they keep control of one, but they lose control of one of the chambers, their power to approve more stimulus is going to drop dramatically because we all know that not a single Republican is going to vote for any more stimulus, maybe physical stimulus, but no stimulus checks. And Democrats need both chambers in control in order to use budget reconciliation, which allows them to pass stimulus without a single Republican vote. So these polls need to turn around. I mean, this is really, really bad. So a lot of people are kind of disagreeing on why his approval ratings are so bad. Is it because he hasn't done a stimulus check? Is it because he hasn't increased Social Security benefits? Both things that he promised on the campaign trail. Is it simply because inflation is so rampant? And a lot of people disagree as to whether or not that's President Biden's fault. Most people say this is a global issue. Supply chain shortages, demand through the roof because the global economy is opening up all at once. Most people think it's that. Some people think it's because he approved too much stimulus. But in any case, let me know your thoughts, guys. What is the main reason that you think that President Biden is doing so poorly in the polls? Do you think it's inflation? Do you think it's stimulus, Social Security benefits, the economy at large, the fact that people are still struggling out there in general? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think you guys know my opinion on this. If President Biden was to increase Social Security benefits, approve stimulus checks for seniors, and also deal with inflation. I'll be honest, inflation is a huge issue. I think he would be doing really, really well in the polls. Of course, there's also the scare of the pandemic getting worse, as there is a new strain that was just discovered in Africa, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Now, as far as the 2024 race, I won't dive too deep into this, but there is speculation. Actually, Pence said he's going to try and run in 2024 as well. And then also DeSantis from Florida is probably going to run as well. He still hasn't officially announced it, but these are a couple of challengers that will probably run against President Trump. Now, when Pence runs, it's kind of going to be like the Biden version of him on the Republican side. Now, I know they're not the exact same. Obviously, Biden has his own deficiencies with certain things, like he's not good at giving speeches, things like that. Pence, I think he's a pretty good public speaker, but in the sense of he's kind of a mild, non-inflammatory, watered-down version of the Republican side, right? So whereas Trump can be really intense, Pence has a lot of the same values as Trump, but isn't as controversial, isn't as inflammatory, isn't as offensive. So it's kind of, if Republican voters want someone who shares their values, but is kind of more of the mainstream, kind of less confrontational, less problematic, that's why they would vote for Pence, right? Kind of like how people voted for Biden, because they wanted status quo. They wanted someone who was going to be the president, wasn't going to be posting on Twitter, causing more drama, and that's one of the main reasons President Biden won. So that would be a reason why Pence could beat Trump in the primaries. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Do you think Pence could beat Trump in the primaries, or would you yourself prefer Pence or Trump? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. There is definitely a storyline there where Pence was his vice president. Obviously, we know what happened in January when Trump got upset with Pence because he wasn't kind of backing what he wanted him to do. And there's definitely a storyline there where it's almost like a Trump versus Pence kind of drama situation. So, all right, folks, so let's talk about the stock market really quick. Let's talk about the pandemic and this new variant that was just discovered in Africa. And then we'll jump right into the stimulus update, what's going on in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer's new deadline for the next stimulus package. Now, currently, there is a lot of uncertainty in the stock market, guys. The stock market opened up down today after the holiday, and this is mainly due to fear and uncertainty regarding this new mutated variant of the illness, which was discovered in Africa. Now, basically what they're saying about this variant is it's been detected in small numbers in Africa, so it's still not very widespread, but it contains more than 30 mutations to the spike protein, which binds to your cell, and it's also being shown that they think the viral load, even in those who are vaccinated, is really, really high. So basically what they're speculating so far is that this new variant could be even more contagious than any other variant we've seen. Of course, this is speculation. It could be nothing or it could be something. But because of this, not only are people worried about shutdowns, people are worried that some countries are going to continue to shut down again. The U.S. might consider doing some form of restrictions. I mean, the U.S. has basically been back to normal. People are out at bars, restaurants, traveling. There could be, even if it's just a mild restriction, it's going to hit the economy. And because of that, the stock market is down. There is a lot of fear in the market. If you see, the Russell 2000 is down 4%. The NASDAQ is down 2%. The S&P is down 2.5%. Things are definitely down in the markets, mainly due to this variant. So that's what's going on in the stock market. with that said, folks, let's jump right into the stimulus update. Chuck Schumer's new deadline for the stimulus package, what's going on with Bernie Sanders and the stimulus check for seniors, and what we expect to happen next. Okay, so this headline is titled, "Here are the hurdles for Biden's Build Back Better plan, aka stimulus package, when the Senate returns." And when they return is going to be on Monday. If you look on your screen, this is the congressional calendar, the official calendar for the House and the Senate. And this blue shows when the Senate is in session. So today's Friday. They'll be back on Monday. Of course, they got their whole week off, which honestly they shouldn't have because nothing's gotten done. So why are they on vacation? Beats me. But they'll be back on Monday. And then when it's the yellow dates on your screen show that the Senate and the House are back in session. So Monday, the Senate will be back. And Tuesday, the House and the Senate will be back. And they'll be back for 2 weeks. And then on December 10th, they're supposed to go on vacation again for about a month until after the New Year. So really, they're hoping to get it done by December 10th. But Chuck Schumer announced his official deadline, at least for him, is he's aiming for Christmas Eve. So he wants to have his deadline. Really, it's the day before Christmas Eve on December 23rd. He wants to have the stimulus package done by then. So if you look on your screen, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So in about 4 weeks, he wants to have the stimulus package done. Of course, we're hoping it gets done before that, but that is the deadline that Chuck Schumer has given, the day before Christmas Eve, if you will. So if he gets it done by then, and if Bernie Sanders is able to include stimulus checks for seniors, when might those checks go out? Well, previously we know that people on Social Security actually got their stimulus checks last. But that was because Andrew Saul, who was the commissioner at the time of the administration for Social Security, was appointed by Trump, and he was basically purposely delaying stimulus checks for seniors to spite Biden and make Biden look bad. But really, everyone ended up figuring out that it was Saul, and he ended up getting fired mainly because of that, right? So we expect them to go out a lot quicker this time if they're included in this package. Again, they're not currently in the package that was approved in the House, but Bernie Sanders is trying to include them when they make their amendments in the Senate. So if they're approved on December 23rd, we expect, based on history and what we know, about 25% of people would receive their stimulus check the next week by New Year. And then about every week, give or take, another 10 to 20% of people would receive their stimulus check. So depending on what wave you ended up in, there's a small chance you would get it before the New Year. And then every week there'd be another small chance you would get it the week after or the week after. And then by the end of January, the majority, almost everyone, probably 90% of people would have their stimulus checks. But by the second week of January, about 70% of people should have their stimulus checks based off of history. And again, this is if it's included in the stimulus package. So that is the deadline that Chuck Schumer has set, December 23rd. He's hoping to have the stimulus package done. And as far as payment dates, we'd expect about 20% of people to get their check by the New Year and another 10 to 20% of people to get them every single week. Again, it's just kind of random depending on what wave you end up in, right? Now, all of this is happening as they have a lot of hurdles to overcome, right? This headline is titled, "These are the hurdles for Biden's Build Back Better plan when the Senate returns." And all of this is happening as they face a December 3rd deadline to stave off a government shutdown, as the U.S. could run out of funding, basically having no money left in their bank account, and a lot of programs could shut down. So let's talk about that for a sec. If the government shuts down, a lot of things are not going to be paid out. So some people have speculated that Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI, could freeze payments until the government shutdown ends. Now, people have disagreed on this because technically the Social Security Administration has a trust fund. And what they could do is sell some of those bonds and then use that money to pay beneficiaries in the meantime until the government shutdown ends. Now, other experts disagree, and they say, well, if the government is shut down, the employees that work at the administration aren't even going to be there. So how are they going to sell the bonds? How are they going to disperse payments? How are they going to do this? Even if they are able to do it, how are they going to do it quickly enough so that no payments are missed? Now, the most likely scenario, to be quite honest with you, is if the government does shut down, there would probably be one payment that would be missed, or it would come a couple of weeks late. That would probably happen, just based off of how we know how slow our government is to get things done. So, not to scare you guys, but this is a small possibility. We don't expect the government to shut down. They always tend to do an extension. They'll say, hey, we'll do a 2-week extension. We'll do another 2-week extension until they can find a permanent solution, right? But this one's a little more complicated because Mitch McConnell is trying to force Democrats to do the budget ceiling, the debt ceiling increase in the stimulus package, and Democrats don't want to do that. So is Mitch McConnell gonna hold his ground, or is he going to fold and give Democrats another extension? We'll have to wait and see. But in my opinion, that's the most likely outcome. We'll get an extension. The Democrats won't probably fully address the debt ceiling crisis until January, and they'll get the stimulus package done sometime before Christmas. But what are a couple of the main issues still left in the stimulus package negotiations? Because although the stimulus package was approved in the House, the Senate is going to make its changes, what they call amendments. Then once those changes are done, it's going to go back to the House, and the House of Representatives have to approve those changes. And then once those changes are fully approved in the House as well, they'll send it to President Biden's desk, and it'll be fully signed into law. So the expectation is that Nancy Pelosi worked with Chuck Schumer while she was making this package in the House. She worked with Chuck Schumer to say, hey, if we approve this in the House, will they approve it in the Senate? And she did that with every single thing. So the expectation is that 90% of what's in this package is already agreed upon. But, of course, there still are some outstanding issues. And a lot of it is going to surround around Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin. First of all, Bernie Sanders wants to include the stimulus checks for seniors, and we're pretty sure Joe Manchin does not want to do that. He hasn't really acknowledged them, but the expectation is that he wants to spend less. So the last thing he's going to want to do is approve more stimulus checks for seniors. So that's something Bernie Sanders is going to be fighting for. He's on record as saying he wants it to be at least $1,000. Some groups want it to be as high as $1,400, even $2,000, some people are saying. And Biden said he wants it in the package, but realistically, it could be as low as $800. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but that is definitely a major issue in this package. There are a couple of other issues, but I'm probably going to cover those in my next video. But for now, this is currently what's happening. The Senate is still on vacation, enjoying their week off. They'll be back on Monday, and a lot of the disagreements is going to center around Bernie Sanders trying to include more in the package and Joe Manchin trying to include less. And the deadline that Chuck Schumer has set is Christmas Eve, December 23rd. And again, if it is approved by that date, we'd expect seniors to get their stimulus checks, about 20% of you by the end of December, and about 10 to 20% of you every single week throughout the end of January. So that is the current expectation as far as the deadline that Chuck Schumer set and potential payment dates if the stimulus check for seniors is included in this package. So with that said, folks, I hope you're all having a great holiday weekend. Enjoy your day. Get some good Black Friday sales. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this community. On my last video, I spent a couple of minutes just saying thank you to each and every single one of you for every like you've given my videos. Every time you click and watch my videos, it really supports my work. And guys, I'm doing this full time, doing these updates, giving you updates on the stock market, on daily trending news, on stimulus, on social security benefits and politics. This is my full-time job now. So my family is truly dependent on you clicking on my videos and watching my videos. So thank you so much for supporting my work. And again, if you really want to support my work, subscribe to my second channel. The link to that is going to be in the comments of this video. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And until the next video, take care and have a great day.